guys, I'm live. I'm doing this video in tribute to my adoptive Uncle E. I'm just going to call him Uncle E. His first name starts with E. If he's watching this, he'll know who he is. I have an original saying I made up just for this video, but I think it's pretty true. I'd like to say it to you first. A wise man says what he knows. A wiser man keeps his mouth shut. And a wiser man, well, let me just say it like this. It's my original saying, so I got to get it right here. A wise man tells you a lot about what he knows. A wise man keeps his mouth completely shut. And the wisest man says very little. I think I said that right. My Uncle Ernie was the latter. He said very little, and yet it carried a lot of weight. Oh, and then I just said what his name was. Well, there's that. LOL. So now all the cyber people can go rake me over the coals through the dark webs of the interconnections, whatever that is. Okay, so his name is Uncle Ernie. All right. So if you guys are Uncle Ernie, if you're watching, I'm doing this in tribute to my adoptive Uncle Ernie. He's the only musical person in my whole extended or immediate adoptive family. And when I was a kid, my hair was exceptionally thick compared to everybody else. And Uncle Ernie was actually, besides being a violin fiddle player, and now later a violin maker, he was a hair cutter. And we used to go to El Cajon to have him cut my hair, and he always had to thin it out. All my life, thin hair, because it was too thick. And if it would have looked good growing long, but short, it looked funny. So he had to thin it all the time. But right next door to his barber shop was a guitar store, even in like 1977 and all that. And that's the first time when he took me in there one time, just me and him. And I saw this what seemed to me like a cool dude at the time. I was like 11 years old or something like that, maybe 10, 11. I think I was 11. This guy was shredded. He was only playing like pentatonic scales, and he wasn't like a shredder by modern terms, but I just saw him playing, and it's like so cool to me. And I wanted to do what this guy was doing, you know. And that was the first time I wanted to play guitar when I was 11. And that would have been 1978, I guess. Yeah. And of course my dad would not have it, of course. But I want to toot the horn of Uncle Ernie, my Uncle Ernie. Like I said in the opening statement, the wisest man says very little. He doesn't see. Wise man says a lot about what he knows. A wise man keeps his mouth completely shut, but the wisest man says very little. He said very little, but it made so much impact on me as a kid about music and stuff. And I want to say 4 things he said throughout my life about music that were all 10 words or less, and yet had an amazing impact on me, and I want to do that for my Uncle Ernie. Okay, so number 1, when I was a kid, I guess I was 15 years old, he said, Jimmy's going to be a great musician someday, or something like that. And I recorded that in my head, and it was very cool he said that. I was 15, pushing 16, but probably 15, and that was cool. And then when I was like a little older, like maybe 20 or something, he very accurately stated the structure of the major scale in music. So let's say you're a C major scale, and C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, and so forth. He said the half steps in a major scale are between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. Just that quickly he said it. And that basically sums up the whole structure of a major scale. A whole step between 1 and 2, whole step between 2 and 3, half step between 3 and 4, whole step between 4 and 5, whole step between 5 and 6, whole step between 6 and 7, half step between 7 and 8. In other words, the major scales half steps are between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. So with just that quick statement made me understand and know what a major scale was when I was only like young. So that was cool. And then I was even a little older than that. I was like 28. It was like 1995, and I just discovered alternate picking for myself. I went to show my Uncle Ernie what I'd learned or something like that, and I just picked out a guitar and started alternate picking in front of him, and he said, first thing he said was, wow, you've discovered something there. But then the statement I remember was, he just said 3 words, just master it. That's all he said. Just master it. And nobody else had that much of an impact on my musical structures with so little words than him. So, and the final thing he said was even later than that. Maybe I was 33 or something. I was doing one of my first gigs live. I've done like 150 live performances in my life. Not that I've counted them, but that's an approximation. He goes to me. He says, about that time, he said, I said, Uncle Ernie, that there seems to be a choice. There seems to be a thing about whether or not you use your pinky little finger in the left hand in fretting or not. And Uncle Ernie just said 2 words this time. He said, he said, you should, meaning you should use your pinky finger when you're fingering. Just 2 words. You should learn to use all 4. You should. Are you okay? Are you okay? You out of gas? Are you good? Okay, have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, just by saying you should, that was a good note to me. That to use all 4 fingers of my fretting hand when I play. And so one reason I made this video was to make a note to my Uncle Ernie, if he's watching or not, but I still make the note to him. I was just walking around today and I realized, I consider myself a good alternate picker. I consider myself a picker, that I'm able to pick, and I think I could tell Uncle Ernie if I saw him, or if he's watching this, that I think I did master alternate picking, at least relatively, and at least for me. And I do use my pinky finger on my left hand for fretting a lot of the time, almost most of the time, at least a lot of the time, if not most of the time. And I understand what a major scale is, and I think I've become at least a good musician. So thanks to Uncle Ernie. Love you guys. Peace. Rock and roll.